what she needed. And she's like, okay, I need a list of their chores and a list of things that they will and won't eat. Not because I can't think of what chores to do.
You got my email?
I just got it just now. Yeah.
I've got your thoughts after I get you.
Oh no, it's okay. I'll get that again.
Start the class. So good. That stands good for you. 22.
25.
Miss anything? Miss anything? Morning.
Sorry.
That properly tracking?
No, I thought I had more time than I did.
Okay, so okay. So today we talk about the MBCT, mindfulness-based cognitive therapies. Last week we talked about MBSR, that's the basic one. Okay, this approach deal with stress.
Did you possibly freeze the screen?
Huh?
Did you possibly freeze the screen? I know
Which one?
other professors have, if they pull something up, they want you to look at that and then they can freeze it so they can pull other stuff up.
Which one?
I have no idea what method it is.
No idea how to use it. Somebody know how to use this? I'm not even saying it. I don't think anyone knows how to use it. We had smart boards in high school, those big boards that are cheap. We use those for everything. Now I still find myself thinking that that's a smart board now. Like it doesn't like touch it right on the projector. It doesn't like that. Yeah, you can very we never got to use them. The teachers would use them, but they were always afraid we. I got to write on one.
Yeah, we can work on this. Okay, so the first one, so I apologize that last Wednesday when they asked you to pick a number, I forgot to upload the questions. So all of you got the question, right? Yeah. This, I know this is too late for you to work on. Have you read? Have you worked on?
Yeah.
Okay. So probably here the first one, right? Depression, right? So what do you have there?
Yeah, I have the causes, symptoms, physiological problems, and psychological problems of depression.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of different causes. Genetics is the main factor.
Mm-hmm.
Previous abuse or current abuse. Certain medications can cause chemical imbalances of your neurotransmitters. Conflicts, which leads us to what we've been talking about in class, imbalance in your life and not being accepting of what's happening to you and always judging things. That can lead to depression. A death or loss in your family or friends. Major events, even if they're a happy event like getting a new job or moving somewhere, can cause you to be depressed because your body is under stress. And even though it's not considered bad stress, it can still be bad for you. Substance abuse and serious illnesses, those can be causes as well. Symptoms, loss of interest in daily activities, appetite and weight changes, sleep changes, either sleeping less or sleeping more, loss of energy and fatigue, and social withdrawal. Some physiological problems. Digestive problems are a main one. One of the articles said that that's usually in children and adolescents especially. And diseases such as Crohn's and colitis, which are diseases of the intestinal tract, those can be worsened by depression, which my boyfriend has very serious Crohn's disease. And I've noticed that when he gets upset or stressed, he gets way sicker. And so that's very true. You can have migraines and regular headaches just more often that can build up to migraines, which I get migraines really bad, but since I've gotten older and better at coping with stress, I've got less. Sleeping problems, back and muscle aches, and chest pains. Sometimes people have chest pains and they don't realize that they're having a panic attack, which I've had a couple times before. I think a lot of people have had panic attacks and just not realized it. And then some psychological problems, feelings of being alone, self-loathing, helplessness. And one of the readings we had focused on how if you're having negative thoughts after you've had a bout of depression, it's a lot easier to fall back into depression again. Each relapse, it becomes easier to fall into it again. And your negative mood can actually trigger all your other symptoms of depression and make you go into depression. So it's a good idea to use the MBCT and MBSR and meditation to keep yourself from falling back into that same rut again.
There's varieties of reasons, right, why people have depression. So in our lives, sometimes we have that type of depressions, whether it's as serious as it's real, right? Okay, let's over this. So let me, thank you. Please, I don't know. Okay. Yeah. This is depression. Continuing blowing, abnormal blood flowing. So depressive disorder, progressive, persistent, urge of system. Persistent, especially this one, the negative view. So that's why we so depressed that you say even we got job interview. Actually, you got the job, but you're still depressed. Why? Why? Sometimes you may not get the job that you want to, right?
Or you're worried about how it's going to go.
Yeah. Worthlessness, incapability, youth, sleep disturbance, and so lost energy and so forth is a lot of reason. This is impaired work ability. Understand is no longer important. Do not outward treatment threshold. Do not outward treatment. It's like a trash can. You want to dump yourself. These flaws, stressful life event, lack of social support, physical illness, family factors, children factor. At least 2 weeks. And like you said, you know what's made relapse? Relapse in depressions. You don't understand, right? Mm-hmm. You understand relapse in depression. What's made relapse in depression? You got that?
It's off the house again.
Yeah.
And to have it again.
You have it again. Yeah. When because you fall back to basically the same circle, right? So when you have that problems, it's better to get out. So there's just a lot. Change weight and so forth. Anyway, I don't want to waste go to this depth, and so I think most of you know that. We go back here. Okay, number 2. There's number 2. Changing goal. Number 2. describe MBCT and its purpose.
MBCT is based off of MBSR.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, it's geared specifically to help psychological and psychosocial issues,
Yeah.
like anxiety and panic attacks and depression. And it includes breathing methods, yoga, and meditation to help bring you back to the present moment instead of worrying about the future or the past or negative thoughts.
So what is its purpose? What's their purpose? MBCT.
It's to, what I got was to help with the psychological issues.
And what would add on? Okay. Okay, let us move on different ones. So after that, we will some of. Okay. Yeah. So let us watch this video, short video clips.
The Mindfulness Clinic. This video is about mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, what it is, and how it can be helpful for people. Mindfulness-based cognitive therapy is often called MBCT for short. It's an 8-week course that combines meditation techniques with cognitive therapy to help people who are having problems with depression, anxiety, and other difficulties. The meditation technique in this course comes from the Buddhist tradition, but in MBCT the techniques are taught in a non-religious way. MBCT is taught in a group format. The number of people in the group varies anywhere from 5 to 25 people, and 1 or 2 facilitators, depending on who's offering it. MBCT is taught in a group because it's actually easier to learn meditation as part of a group, and it's more affordable than one-on-one instruction. The group meets for 2 to 2.5 hours a week for 8 weeks. Each week, time is spent learning the meditation technique and practicing it together with the other people in the group. Time is also dedicated to discussing the technique, making sure everyone understands it, and is learning how mindfulness can be applied to real situations in life outside the group, like at work and in family life. MBCT also teaches some cognitive therapy strategies for managing difficult emotions or mood changes in ways that help prevent depression and anxiety. Homework is a significant component of MBCT. Participants are asked to set aside 30 to 45 minutes a day for 6 days a week over the course of the 8 weeks of training. The reason for this emphasis on homework is that the training really is about helping people develop skills to deal with stress, anxiety, and sadness. And to learn any skill, from playing an instrument to learning how to cook, you need good instruction, and you also have to practice, work at it yourself, and then get some feedback on how it's coming along. People with anxiety, depression, and stress can expect to feel much better at the end of an MBCT group. The meditation and cognitive therapy techniques teach ways for people to feel less worried in their lives, less troubled by fears, and to gain better control over problems like emotional overeating or insomnia. MBCT can also be helpful for problems with pain and headaches that are caused by worry and tension. Research studies provide solid evidence that MBCT is effective in helping depression, anxiety, phobias, and other kinds of personal distress. People who learn and apply the techniques taught in MBCT gradually learn to be less reactive. They're able to tune in and be aware of their thoughts and feelings and reactions without being as overwhelmed by them. People also learn to be kinder to themselves and how to respond to and deal with situations in a more mature and balanced way. I hope you found this information helpful. For more information about MBCT groups near you, do an online search for mindfulness groups in your area.
Okay, so again, so this is the they have 8 weeks, 2.5 hours per week, a combination of the cognitive behavioral therapies, and they do homework of 30 to also to deal with stress, depression, and so on. This is the basic idea, basic information. I think it's better to move on to CTB first. Who does CTB? Number 4, Jessica. She's not here.
I think I had number 4. What was number 4?
Oh, you have number 4?
What was number 4?
Yeah, number 4 describes how CTB deal with depression.
Yeah, I had that.
Yeah, what the heck?
Before I start, I apologize if this is the wrong thing. I was looking in the article that was about CBT, but it seemed like it mainly talked about MBCT. But anyways, this is what I got. So basically, I just kind of looked at where depression kind of stems from. It's usually involved with negative thinking and kind of viewing thoughts, viewing thoughts that aren't real, but making them your reality. And how CBT attempts to deal with that is by recognizing those thoughts when they occur and kind of seeing that they're just thoughts and that they don't represent reality, because that's really what gets you into depression. If you really start to think that's reality, like if I tell myself no one loves me, and I think that's true, if I think that's true, then it kind of just puts me on a downward spiral toward depression. So that's what the CBT attempts to do in recognizing the thoughts when they occur and realizing that they're just thoughts, so it's not reality. Also, it said that the article I read said that it was good for therapists to practice this as well, because it kind of helps them, better deal with their patients. It offers them more patience and lets them kind of maybe not go at it at a judgmental way, because therapists are just like us. Yeah, of course.
Actually, you messed up. That is the MBCT, not the CBT. That's MBCT. That's okay, go ahead.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. No
Like I
problem.
said, the article, I thought,
That's okay.
I wasn't sure.
No, don't worry. That's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So therapists, where was it? It's recommended that therapists go about practicing MBCT as well. For one, it kind of helps them, better treat their patients, because they're just like, us as human beings. They have tendencies to judge people and kind of assume things without actually kind of listening out to things. And also, by practicing MBCT, you're better able to teach someone. It's one thing to know how to do it, and one thing to actually practice it. You actually know the struggles that might come up when practicing. So that's what I got. So that was MBCT.
Yeah, MBCT.
Okay, I apologize.
Anyone talk about CBT? Yeah, what is that?
Well, I had number 6, and it was the difference between CBT and MBCT.
That's good.
Dealing with depression. So what I got was CBT is basically cognitive-based therapy. Yeah.
Cognitive behavior therapy.
Cognitive behavior therapy. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. And cognitive behavioral therapy, the way that it's different from mindfulness-based cognitive therapy is that while you're talking about how you're feeling, and whenever a negative thought comes up, you kind of try to alter that thought process. So you notice you're having a negative thought and you replace it with a positive thought. And that's kind of different from mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, because instead of trying to alter the way you think, you just try to accept the way you're thinking and then be in the moment, and then over time, you just become more positive because you realize it's just a moment thinking that way. It doesn't have to become the way you like. It doesn't have to become a belief system.
Can you give an example of CBT?
Okay, making assumptions about a friend who says that he or she can't go out with you because she's busy. So then you start to believe that the reason why they say that they're busy is because they actually don't want to spend time with you, because it's like they don't like you, and then you start thinking like nobody likes you, and So what you would do in CBT is talk about that issue, and then instead of thinking like that person isn't really busy and they don't want to hang out with me, and then I'm not going to go out at all because I feel like nobody loves me. So instead of doing that, you would start thinking about a time when somebody said something really nice about you and said that they did want to hang out with you, and then you would start thinking about those nice moments, and then think of somebody who maybe said that and call them up to go hang out, and you would start, finding people who do want to hang out with you, and so it's.
Yeah. Let me show you short video clips about the CBT first.
The following scenario looks at using a brief CBT approach for a depressed mother with a young child. Depression is characterized by negative thinking styles, low mood, fatigue, and a reduction in activity levels. Notice how the GP uses the structured 5 areas of the cognitive behavioral model to identify the individual patient's specific negative thoughts about herself as a mother, as well as her key unhelpful behavioral changes. Later, she offers an empowering explanation for the patient's tiredness symptoms, which she calls depression tiredness. This helps to provide a rationale for increasing her activity levels.
I know when we met a few weeks ago, you were quite keen to look at some ways to try and manage your depression, maybe without medication. Is that what brings you in today?
Yes, something like that.
Right, okay. I'd like to take some notes, if that's okay, just to keep track of what we talk about. Would that be okay with you?
Yes, that'll be fine.
You can have a copy to take away afterwards. What I find quite helpful is if we talk about a specific situation. I wonder if you could just think of a time, maybe a recent time, when you felt particularly depressed and it affected you.
Well, a few weeks ago I was due to meet up with some friends from antenatal classes. We used to meet up every week, but I felt so tired and low, I just couldn't go.
Right. So what was going through your mind when you were feeling tired and low that stopped you wanting to go?
Well, I started thinking about the other mothers laughing and chatting, and I wouldn't have anything to say.
And what would that mean if you didn't have anything to say?
They'd probably think that I was boring. Why would they want me there if I was just going to make everyone else miserable?
They sound like some really difficult thoughts to have. And how did it make you feel when you were thinking that?
Really low.
Right, okay. It's really understandable, I think, that you'd feel low if you're having quite self-critical, very negative thoughts, and that's quite common in depression to have those type of thoughts. Did it make you think anything about how they might see you, for example?
Well, the other children always seemed so happy. I started thinking maybe the other mothers do a better job than me.
Right.
I worry a lot about Mummy and wondered if she'd be better off with one of the other mums.
Right, okay. And that must be really painful. And how does it make you feel to think that Molly might be better off with one of the other mums?
It made me feel really sad.
What tells you that Molly might be better off with one of the other mums?
Well, she always seems so in control with my depression.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel guilty that I'm not a very good mother.
You've mentioned a number of emotional feelings. You said you feel fed up, low, sad, and sometimes guilty. Do you have any physical symptoms or body reactions?
I get quite tearful, although that's mainly when I'm on my own. I'm so tired, I just don't have the energy.
Right. Are you getting good sleep at the moment?
Well, Molly keeps me up sometimes at night, and that makes me tired. But even after a good night's sleep, I'm still exhausted.
Right.
Okay, so this lady, she's so depressed when she's thinking that she's not a good mother, right? That's why she got depression. And if you were the therapist, what should you provide her in the CBT session? What do you think? What do you expect her to say to these clients? What do you think?
To find a positive thought to replace.
Yeah. So there's plenty of ways to encourage this lady, right? You read more, try to keep up with your work, sleep well, and so forth, right? time to cheer her up, right? So that's the way.
Sleep when the baby sleeps.
Yeah,
Especially
and play with them, take them to go to see the movie and so forth, right? So cheer her up and give her some harsh insight about life. That is the CBT. Replace the negative with the positive. So what do you think? It's simple? What do you think? It's simple approach or what do you think?
I think it's simple to say yes, but because I've kind of did that a little in my own life. Like my therapist has told me before, to replace the thoughts. Now it's one thing to have a thought to replace it, and another thing to believe it. Because I have a hard time believing that those thoughts actually represent reality. I still want to hang on to that depressive thought.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. You may fall back to the track, right? To the same track that before. But of course, for the therapists, they need to not brainwash it, but give the clients more encouragement, right, to replace the thought. But still, it's not easy because you have what they call back in your mind. You have two person. One is devil, one angel. Is that right? You're always fighting. Is that right? That's a problem there. Right. So let's move on with the next one. And that's their approach. That's why sometimes it could not be applicable. Okay. Now the next one we'll find here. Yeah, here. How can you deal with depression by using the MB? Anyway, that's okay. Okay, number 5. How can you use the MBCT to deal with depression? Jacob, he touched briefly about that. So can you tell more? How you use MBCT to deal with depression?
That's why what I see is like the MBCT, like he talking about like replace the depressed thought with the positive.
Mm-hmm.
Is like, is what I see is on the article, they're talking about like every time like when you like have the empty space, you know what I mean, like you don't have nothing to do. So that's the time like usually we always carry the depressed thoughts out. So instead of we like take that empty space to like think about the depressing, like thought, we move ourselves into a certain way, like we do something our hobby or something like that, to see about we are at the moment, like do something you really like. They talk about like music, like you pick out the song, the best song that you like, and then you turn that song on, so you like follow singing with the song because you want to distract your mind from the past, negative past. And then like after you sing out a song you like, and then you feel like better, you feel more positive because you look like you relax, about yourself at the moment, and you enjoy your life. And also when you're doing that, you realize more about, like after you relax, you realize more about like what you think in your mind. It just like it's just like something they already passed, and you feel more like what you need to do right now is the best for you. It's based on like the event. I mean, like based on the event around you. Look like after you sing on the music, and then you go out or you go downstairs, like you talk with your family and see what they're doing, instead of you pushing yourself in the box, and then you block your mind in that box with the whole like negative talk. So they just talk about like how you pushing yourself out with your family and your friend, because like the more people around you, they can see about, are you different, what I mean, like see like you depressed or you happy, what I mean. Instead of we couldn't see ourselves like happy or not. So the more we go out, we touch with people, they can give us like more advice, like how can you do better.
I had the same one. I had
Yeah,
number 5.
okay, yeah, what do you have then?
The mindfulness-based cognitive therapy is using this mindfulness program to help people deal with depression. And instead of replacing thoughts, it's more of acknowledging and accepting the thoughts and then focusing on what's going on in the present. So if you feel like for that lady, she feels like she's not a very good mother, she can say, okay, I accept that feeling as something I feel, but then she can realize that it's not necessarily reality, it's just a feeling. And to know to separate your feelings from reality are good things, and she can actually then accept and acknowledge the things that she does well as a mother, right? And the fact that she cares about what kind of mother she is important, things like that. The point of the mindfulness, though, is to keep yourself from doing rumination. And rumination is the cycle of negative talk to yourself. People who get depressed tend to make a cycle of it, and they don't do it intentionally. You find a thought, a negative thought pattern, and you might get past it, and then something will happen, and then you start thinking negatively, and you're right back where you started. And that's called rumination. And so being mindful can help you break out of the cycle, because if you bring yourself to the present moment with your breath and just slow down and clear your mind, then you break that rumination immediately, and then you can really start focusing on what's real instead of the thoughts you obsess about.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to, thank you, thanks for the explanation. I'd like to explain these two models. This is the normal process of thought, right? Thought, usually we think, that's I, that's myself, is that right? When I think, oh, I think I like pizza. This is a thought. I like it. That's my thought. The CCD, right? The CCD function is to replace, right, the negative thought with the positive, right? With a positive, right? This CCD. But again, sometimes this works, sometimes it may not, because in the back of your head, there's still two of your personality, the angel and devils, they fighting. Oh, I want to replace the angel. No, I want to go back to my devil. I am so depressed. No, okay, get out. It's fighting, right? That's rest, that's fighting. And flying too, is that right? Fly. You want to fly away, you want to run away from a negative, and you hear, but you want to fly back with the negative one. It's still talk. It may raise some kind of stress. When you apply this kind of CTB, it sometimes work for some, but maybe not. But this one, the MBCT, right? Thought, according to this approach, you need to observe them as a special event, that is positive and negative. It's not you. So when you separate them, that they're not you, they don't disturb you. That's why now it's getting popular. Now it's so useful. So we don't need to fight anymore. Is that right? We don't need to fight. Oh, I have to replace the negative with the positive. No, okay, yeah, absorb them, that's fine. Oh, I feel depressed. I have bad feeling for today. I dropped my cups. I forgot that to upload my questions. And so, oh, that's okay. It's just my mistake. I admit that. I accept that. Because the thought, with everything I have here, it's special event of my life. So when we separate them, when we recognize them as special event, we can deal much easier. And especially when we don't identify them as us.
think that's really hard too because I have my friend, she's talking about like eating disorder, you know. Like, I don't even know how eating disorder very scary, but she's talking about like when she's in high school, she used to weigh like 300 pounds. And now when she get older, she's just about like 140. But she said like every time she always, you know, at the back we talking about like negative talk. She always see, you know, like her past, the past body 300 pounds. And then she always carry that negative talk like outside. She doesn't want to have a friend, you know, overweight. Because they say everybody overweight is really negative. And then I say, no, it's not, everybody different. They say, no, everybody overweight is really negative. And then I said, why? She said, it just is. And then I say, is it because you think about yourself used to be in the past, so that's why you push that for everybody? And then she said, yeah, that's really horrible.
So there's a trick. There's a trick for the mindfulness-based techniques approach. That when you recognize your thoughts at special event, or because they're up and down, right? Right? Sometimes we have good mood, sometimes we have bad mood here. They can have a thought. There is a stream of thoughts. That's all. As much you recognize them, they don't disturb you much. But if you are with them, you flow with them, they will disturb you. The thought and emotions. So that's the trick there. And that's why you need to do homework here. 30 to 45 minutes per day to do meditation. When you do meditation, like I told you last time, right? If you calm your body down, especially if you calm your mind down, you will see every single thought that come up and go in your mind. It's just the thoughts. Whether they have the problem in the past, obesity, whichever problems, depression, or stress, anxiety, and so forth. Again, when we look at our thought at original stage, initial state, when this will start to pop up, it's easy for us to let go. That's why this kind of mindfulness-based approach utilize that kind of practical applications, especially when you do sit more, when you see more for yourself, when you see more of your thoughts. It's easy for you to let them go. So when you recognize them, right, up and down, good mood, low mood, and so forth, this is a series of thoughts, right? And they are temporary. They don't last forever. So it's easy. When you recognize that kind of thought, you can let them go much easier instead of here finding replacement.
You mean like just move in it? You mean like just move on with your negative thought?
Just move on, drop, let them down, let them go, or put them down. When you recognize such a stream of thought up and down, even your emotions, it's hard. But when you do the practice, that's why I remember the clip. She's mentioned that if you have the kind of practice, you recognize. Let me show you the next one, the MBCT approach.
It's like your thoughts, whether they be good or bad, or they're just up and down. They might be past or present. Yeah. They might be just feelings, but none of those things are fact. They're not real. They're just things in your mind. They're not you.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree with that. Like sometimes, like because that you lose yourself at the moment when you just like
you get obsessed with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You chase it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't chase after the thoughts. They're the thoughts. Let me show you this.
Could you comment on the balance that must be struck between working with
It's a direct, intuitive knowing of what's going on from moment to moment, both in the outside world and in the inside world. And it's cultivated with forms of meditation, a sort of secular form of ancient Buddhist meditations that have been cultivated for centuries in Asia, particularly in the monasteries in Asia, but now has come outside the monastery and to the West as well, and is proving of great benefit for many, many people. One of the really important things is to establish whether mindfulness really works. And so a lot of our research has been doing clinical trials, and what we've discovered is that for people who have the most recurrent forms of depression, it halves the risk of depression over that critical 12-month period where we know that 2/3 or more would have relapsed. But it doesn't just prevent depression. Other studies have found that it enhances well-being as well, and that you don't just need to be depressed to get the benefit from this practice. There are three main ways in which people can learn how to practice mindfulness. They can either find a class in a hospital or a meditation center near them, or they can read one of the books that usually have a CD that people can follow along for an 8-week program, or they can do it online. And it's like training an attentional muscle, really. Just like you don't go to the gym and do one pull-up, you go over a series to actually get yourself fit. So we don't train attention in 1 minute or 2 minutes, but use 8 weeks in which people take CDs home and practice every day, and they learn where their attention is most likely to disappear from view without them knowing, and how to bring it back. So they're more in control, they have greater choice over where their attention is. One example of how small things can make a big difference is the example somebody gave. She was saying that in walking from the car park to her office, she found herself really noticing her walking, noticing as the feet touched the ground, noticing the air in her hair and on her face. And this became for her a little space where she felt she could, as it were, nourish herself at the beginning of the day. And she found that it changed her whole day, just to notice that there was a little space there in the walking. And she even started parking a bit further away from her office, thinking, this is really nice, rather than actually frantically trying to get a parking space that would save her 20 yards of walking, which is what she'd been doing. And given the way her life was spinning out of control, this was really important for her.
Yes. So actually see that, so this kind of MBCT is utilized the CBT techniques to deal how to deal with the thought, but in mindfulness-based approach. So basically, you can observe your thought as especially as a series of thoughts. Instead of identify yourself as other thoughts. That's a problem here. That's why people, when they think that I'm so stressed out, right? When they say I'm so stressed out, that means they identify themselves as a thought of stress now. You see? So when you separate, when you recognize they get the thoughts, then you can less go much easier. Of course, it takes time to practice and body scan. The same too. In the mindfulness-based approach, you do body scan, you do the walking, you do sitting, within the mindful jaw and so forth, so that you can pay attention on each of your actions or your speech too, so that you won't fall into the trap of this cell, before the trap of the past, future. You should try to have the charge to compare between the CTB and the MBCT. Why do you call who doesn't assist? Oh, that's good. That's good. Thank you. Let me. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Right, any down here. Can you see? Okay, here. Can you see?
Not really.
Too small. Is it okay?
I can see.
Kind of.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
You gotta look.
Okay, CTB focus on new way to look at a stressful situation. Same. Focusing on negative thoughts and belief. Recognize. You see that? Recognition. Basically. Negative thoughts, but focus on pay attention on the present. Carefully, mentally reframing thoughts, that means replacing thoughts, right? Not positive or the negative. Noticing thoughts and accept them. Recognize and accept them. Pushing out negative thoughts. Fighting, is that right? Fighting. Pushing out the negative thought, replace with the negative one. Let the negative thought rip through the mind without judging or attachment. You let them talk. Recognize. They just talk. Accept that. Accept I have the bad feeling for today. I have low spirit today. I have bad mood today and so forth. Working to disprove and release the power of negative thought. You use some power of mind power to disprove or release, try to oppress, is it alright? Oppress the negative thought. Notice thoughts and feelings without trying to twist them. You don't do anything. Right. Charting and analysis reaction, grabbing through reaction, till you rhythm, recognize and pay attention of the breath. Analyzing thought, experience thought. In the CTB, you analyze, oh, this is negative, this is positive, emotion and so forth. But here, you experience that, you feel that, you recognize that. Way of thinking, way of being with one thought. You recognize and anger, upset, and having the thought. Recognize that and having the thought. Recognize that. Constantly notice thoughts. Constantly notice what's around you and the now movements. So in the CTB, it may bring you back to the past too, right? Is that right? Do you remember how people say to you, right? But here in the MBCT, stay with Christ. As much we stay with Christ and movement, we let go of that kind of stream of thought. So this is the charge here. Okay, let's see. Number 6, Rebecca.
Yeah.
What do you have? Number 6 there.
Sure. Yeah, I kind of gave an overview earlier, but I
Oh
talked
yeah,
about
yeah.
it.
Okay, this one the same. Oh, okay, the same. Okay.
You want me to talk more about it?
Yeah, if you please.
So, I have like a little definition of CBT, a short to medium term talking therapy with the client and therapist deciding on how many sessions will be involved, usually between 6 weeks and 6 months. The basic concept is that focusing on changing the way you think, cognition will change the way you act, behavior. CBT helps with negative spirals and tries to alter the cycle of dysfunctional thinking that leads to negative or unwanted actions. It's problem management. I gave the example earlier of when a friend says that she's busy, you take it as something more or something different, and then you call it a spiral thinking, that you replace it with a different kind of classic thinking. So MBCT is different because it focuses on being and doing. So something I found online, the mind has 2 modes. It has the doing mode and the being mode. So the doing is goal-oriented, how things are and how things want to be, and then the being is accepting and allowing what is. So MBCT promotes cognitive awareness and the being mode. So let's see. So with depression, depression, CBT helps you recognize and reframe negative thought patterns that lead to anxiety and depression. And MBCT also helps you recognize negative thoughts and to learn that thoughts are not facts, but something you can take a wider view of. It uses mindfulness, recognizing what is going on for you in the present moment, how you are thinking and feeling and experiencing things right now. CBT is analytical, so we talked about that last time, or 2 times ago, the difference between reflection and analysis. So I guess MBCT would focus more on reflection. And then I just had a few notes on just things to remember, the difference between CBT and MBCT. MBCT would focus on, instead of like analysis, it would focus on, it would offer you tools like breathing, body scans, sitting meditation, and much more body-based than CBT. It focuses on accepting thoughts as they arise and letting them go.
There's some articles I think some of you have read, right? The article just mentioned about the MBCT deal with MBCT and the prevention of relapse in depression that's been helping people not to fall into the trap of depression again. So that's the remember the professionals, these articles, and they have done many research here. Once a person has recovered from episode of depression, a relatively small amount, negative mood can trigger that kind of depression again. So the MBPC can help a person to overcome that kind of relapse fully too. Okay, let's just move to the last one, and after that we do some type of short session like last time. You are the last one.
Yeah, I did. It was the one I couldn't access.
So what do you have there?
The MBCT cancer.
Deal with cancer?
Yeah.
We have it.
I wasn't able to access it.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't open it because I wrote down the number, but since they weren't on there, I couldn't.
So what do you write about?
I haven't written about it yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I couldn't open it, and the assignment wasn't in Canvas.
That's the same thing that happened to me, but I just happened to get here early and get the email and write some down.
So I apologize. That last time when I gave you the number, I forgot to upload them. So from now I will open the draft to get you. Anyway, again, they have this many different approach to have the cancer people. Okay, here they have the 3 circle models. Okay, can you see the circle of suffering, cancer? Can you see so small? Oh, so small. Okay, let me point out here. Here they have something small for you to see. Cancer and libido, muscle, tension and head, anxiety, deprivation, sedation, attention to body sensation. So these are the circle of suffering. If you have a cancer, if the patient has cancer, they're concerned about their life. They want to avoid that kind of problems, illness. They're so distressed. They're so stressed out. They are a lot of thought that concerned about their problems. So that's a cycle of suffering. Can you see now? Too small. Distress in oncology patient, that's been cancer patient. This one here, that's percentage. Avoidant, they want to avoid or run away, right? They want to run away from that kind of problems, but still, they still have that kind of cancer. And rumination, that's been the thought. Personal spirit, that thought about that kind of problems again and again in their mind. Trauma is sometimes they have what we call post-traumatic stress disorder, even after they have chemotherapies. You're familiar with that, right? It's very stressful for them. And this stress intensification, they so stress out. This one is the circle of stress, anxiety, muscle tension and pain, selective attention, body sensation. Now here the cycle of practice, they provide action, physical sensation, feeling, cause. You need to feel about kindness of yourself. Let me tell you a real story after this. This is intention. This is the way how to tackle, how to deal with the stress of having that kinds of problems. Pay attention, have intention, coming back, bring back your thought, turn toward your thought. Kindness with your body, having kindness with your mind, and even in the MBCT, in this MBCT, it's talk about self-compassion. Have you read about that? Self-compassion? That means you need to recognize yourself. You need to sympathize with yourself. Criticize the circle. This one, the circle present within, heart, mind, body, appreciates the kindness and so forth. One party, appreciating the richness of experience, experience the round of clarity, confident to be with experience, whichever experience you have, whether that kind of problem, the cancer illness, connect to our common communities. Let me stop here. Let me tell you a story. One of my followers in California, he was a doctor. He's really nice. He's really generous guy. Every year he check his wife's blood test every year. But once his wife asked him, why don't you check your blood? And he did. What happened? He found out he has cancer, prostate cancer, prostate, and it's like a death sentence. He's rich, he's famous in communities, he has everything, but now cancer came. He's so desperate, he's so depressed. For the first few months, he didn't want to go out with his friends anymore, and he had his problems too. And before, actually, because his wife is a sincere Buddhist, so she encouraged him to follow Buddhist practice, like recite Buddha names and mantra and so forth. And eventually, because of his faith, he got back. Not normally, but gradually he got back. But somehow he still feel depressed. And a few months before he passed away, he decided that he went back to Vietnam to pass away. And I know, even without talking to him, I know that he ran away from community here. He didn't want to get lost. What do you call it? Face loss. In Asian tradition, loss in the face is one of the problems. As you are famous, you're rich, you're doctor is supposed to give the treatment to the patients, but now you have that kind of problems. So of course he went back to Vietnam and passed away within a couple of weeks peacefully. But anyway, so it's not easy. Not easy when we deal with this kind of problem, especially with cancer. So here, if we don't appreciate the richness of experience, that we live here and now. If we don't have that kind of clarity in our mind, it's so easy to deal. If we don't have the confidence, especially in Buddhist philosophy, we recognize, right? We're born, we have some kind of illness, and we get older and we pass away. It's normal concept of life. If we accept that, we have confidence, we have that connection to common humanity. That's common sense. No one lives forever. It's not easy, but somehow, based upon that kind of principle, we can live our smooth up, but otherwise it's not easy. Right? Even you are billionaires, but when cancer comes, right? When some kind of terminal illness comes, you don't do anything. Okay. Anyway, let's sum up. We have 10 more minutes. Let's just work it together. So now it's clear, right? Clear for you to understand, right? Understand the difference between the CBT and the MBCT. How about what's the difference between which one goes MBSR and MBCT? What's the difference? What's the difference? Who does this one? Someone.
I didn't do the difference, but I did the.
So what's the difference between MBSR and MBCT?
There's not much difference. It's MBCT is based off of MBSR, but MBCT is more specifically for the psychological issues to help against the relapse.
This is more depression. Yeah. This is more for stress. They actually MBCT is spring from MBSR. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so that's not different than the download. Difference is how they provide the treatment to the patient and so on. Right. This for the stress, mostly for the stress people versus for the depressed people. So it's just
to clear things up. So CBT does not incorporate mindfulness, does it?
No.
I didn't think so. Just making sure I got that.
Replacement.
Yeah, which is the opposite of if you're trying to find it in CBT, which is not accepting it. So.
Okay. How about let's just use this about 10 minutes. About we have four teams, right? We can team up and let's say one of you be patient. Another is the therapist, right? So, so tell your therapist the problems of your depression, right? So, and you are therapist, you can, it's up to you. You can use the CBT or the MBCT to help him or her. Okay.
This one week.
Okay. Good. We try to do it in 5 minutes. Okay. Good. You can wait for her.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. Yeah. Give any kind of problems. Whether that's your or you can give this example. It's up to you, right? If you're a patient, right? You can work with him. Yeah. Okay. So one of you will be patient, right? One will be therapist. Okay. If you're patient, tell him or her your past depression.
So you want to be the therapist on the patient?
And let's hear from him or her.
Depends on the problem, whether
Yeah.
I guess I'll try therapist.
So let's talk about is that
yeah,
right? Okay. Okay, trying to figure out how to.
Okay, so it's like getting yourself turned 18.
And so she told me to totally everything. And
feel some way. And she really
Well, I guess the instance I can think of is kind of an ongoing thing that I struggle with. It's a little complicated, but basically in one of my classes, I think that I cheated in the class on a test. I think that it's not like reality, but I kind of believe that, and that's something I'm struggling with, and then it kind of makes me believe that I'm undeserving of, passing that class, undeserving of moving on and like getting my degree, and undeserving of even having a successful career, because I feel like I cheated. Like I said, I didn't really. I mean, I don't think I really cheated if I think about it, but then I mean, yeah, I have explained it to people, and they, like, I'll explain it to you. Basically, this is what happens.
Are we supposed to be doing MBCT or CBT?
Oh, it was during the test, and right as the test was about to start, I was unsure of the date, so I looked at someone else's paper just to try to find the date. I didn't end up finding the date. Actually, it's been like almost a year ago. I don't even think I saw anything besides the name, but I kind of think, oh, well, what if I actually saw one of her answers, or oh, what if I did this, so it's kind of like based on what if analysis.
You're thinking, so that's
a little bit, but I'm almost concerned with. I don't believe. I guess it's been about a year ago. I don't really remember it clearly, and I don't kind of think like, I'm not technically 100% sure that I didn't see anything, is I didn't cheat. Like, I don't think that makes any sense at all.
Okay.
Okay. It's fine, because I left this talking about the I wouldn't find you guilty, right?
Okay, we done? Yeah. Okay, who is patient? Okay. Your patient, who is patient? Okay, can you tell? Yeah. So what's the problems and what's his advice?
Oh, it's in relationship, and he talked about like he have like cognitive class.
No. How about your problems first?
Oh yeah, I'm talking about like how can I don't understand in my relationship is whenever my partner see me. And my partner feel really super excited, and then after that, talking about look like the battery, when you charge it, it's go to top. So when my partner see me, she really happy right here, and then after that, it's like fall down because she have a guard coming up because she have problem about adjusting. So I asked my counselor, so what can I do?
Okay.
And yeah.
You feel depressed because of this up and down mood from your partner?
Yeah, look like you talk about negative up and down. So
yeah. So what's your advice?
I would just say that it's okay to move at different paces, and you just have to let that other person be there first, and you can be aware that we're separate entities, and we can move at different paces. So just be patient.
Okay, I was the patient. It's kind of a complicated problem, but I'll try to explain it succinctly. Basically, my problem, I guess, I think that I'm undeserving of things, such as I'm undeserving of being successful in school. I'm undeserving in being successful in my future career. That's basically what I think is that kind of lead me to being kind of negative thinking and depression. We didn't really get time she didn't really get that whole lot of time to talk to me, but what she did say was just to have confidence in yourself. So I think that's really good advice. I think that kind of tends on the side of thought replacement a little bit, because just, I'm thinking this, like, that I'm not deserving, but she's saying kind of have confidence that you are deserving, so.
We didn't get too far.
We
didn't get too far.
Let's still try. Yes?
I was a patient, and a few weeks ago I was suffering some depression because my children were turning 18.
Emptiness?
Yeah, I was having anxiety, and I realized it's because part of my identity was being their mother, and I was afraid of what would happen to me when they became 18 and didn't technically need a mother. So they caused me some anxiety, but I think my
Answer. Okay.
Yes, like she said, she felt she might lose a part of her identity if her children left. But I just said that if you think you lose that part of yourself, it just makes room to add something new back on, and just to accept the feelings of them leaving and getting older as they come, because it's, in the future it's just going to work out.
I should accepting having emptiness is okay. Don't try to fill in, don't try to replace. If you replace, you will bring a different one too. How about?
I was a patient.
Yes.
And I haven't really been feeling depressed lately, but I talked about when I have felt depressed in the past and how I typically associated it with my mom and when she's depressed. And it's always kind of gone hand in hand because she kind of relied on my siblings and me whenever she would feel depressed, and she would try to ask us to kind of validate her problems and stuff and ask us for advice. But then she wouldn't take the advice, so we talked about how a lot of times I felt like the mother, that was really hard, and so that would influence me and sometimes cause me to feel depressed. But lately it's been a lot better, and I live at home, and typically when I've lived at home it's really hard, and I could live at home for that long, but I've lived at home for longer than I have since, I had to live at home before I was 18, and things are a lot better now. And I was just telling her about an event last night where our mom wanted me and my sister to talk to her about her problems, and how I just have to separate myself from it. But
Okay, thank you. So we don't have much time to work together, right? So probably this Wednesday we will work together more. And this is the oops. I don't know how. You need to show me how. So at home, did you try to do some sort of meditation, right? And because again, learning mindfulness without practices is like you learn how to drive, but you don't drive. Okay. This one, and want to make sure that I upload the question. Okay, number one. Describe ICT. ICT is more complicated than the MBCT. The model, there's many kinds of models. Can you see? Okay, number one, describe ACT, as with acceptance cognitive therapies, and these purposes. Jennifer, right?
yes.
Number two, describe the ACT in place. It's a bit complicated. Oh, okay, Jacob. Two. Number three, describe the acronyms fear, fusion, excessive growth, avoidance of discomfort, and remoteness combined with intensity views of problems or barriers to action. Number three, okay, Tina. Number four, describe 6 core processes of ACT. Okay, yes. Number 5, Requires the therapeutic test. Then fine. Number 6. Compare and contrast ICT-based CBT. You repeat that, right? 7. Compare and contrast ICT-based MBCT. Number 8. The last one describes how ICT can be used together with other treatment approaches to your life. Thank you.
You will post on the site.
This is on the assignment now. I'm very sure. I believe now. Yeah, last time we just wrote down the paper and forgot to upload that. So yeah, we can take time.
We can submit the one for today now too, right?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Okay, see you then. See you on Wednesday. Thank you.
Did you drop it?
Yeah, thank you. Okay.